Hi, beautiful souls. Welcome. Namaste. Good evening. Today is my Friday tarot chat. Hello, everybody. My name is Sadhana. Normally, I'm on Fridays at 12 noon Pacific. And today I'm here just a little bit later. We are in a heat wave on the west coast of Canada. It's probably about 35 degrees in my living room, and I have no air conditioning. So my face is quite red, my body. Anyway, I'm going to do the best that I can here today. And there are background sounds. I'm aware there's a fan in the background as well as my computer is overheating. So you can hear the fan on my computer likely. And I apologize for that because I know it doesn't offer optimal sound. Today, we are going to look through the Visions decks. And this is an exercise I've wanted to do for some time. And I thought that I would do this together, do it live. It's a great exercise, and I am in no rush. If this goes over an hour, it goes over an hour. And on the table, I have the little Visions decks. So let me tell you a little bit about my story with James Eads tarots. I was not a part of I did not have his decks when they first came out. I had seen them, of course, on YouTube. Beautiful, beautiful displays, people arranging the minor arcana in the panorama that is created with each of the suits. And so if you're not aware, there is a panorama for each of the minor suits. And that is a very creative way that connects the story of that particular element. And while I admired those displays, at that time it was just not a deck that I needed to work with. And then the third deck came out, which was Cosma Visions, and I thought, this is a really pretty box. I love the green box. I hadn't touched his work. I hadn't held any of the decks in hand. I hadn't really in detail watched any walkthroughs, but there's something about his work. And so I backed the Kickstarter for Cosma Visions and was really intrigued with all that he was doing in the deck. Now, Cosma Visions is an oracle deck. The reason for that is a slightly different interpretation of the first 5 majors, as well as the way that the court cards are presented. However, I don't see any reason why you can't work with Cosma Visions as a tarot. It does have the basic 78 cards. And so today we're going to look through the 78 cards in order of the 3 decks side by side. And I'm going to, so that's the Cosma Visions Kickstarter. And then when the little Visions came out, because I had received the big Visions, so there's this beautiful, I just showed you, so this beautiful guidebook that goes with his decks. I was kind of intrigued. And so I was toying between, well, should I get Light Visions or should I get Prisma Visions? And so and then the Kickstarter came out for the 3 little Visions. And so I got the 3 little Visions. And I also got the large one of Light Visions. Why? There was just something about the neutral single color that felt that it would work with a lot of readings. And so I have the 3 minis and I have 2 of the standard size tarot decks. And I can also show you the size. Now the mini deck is quite a different size than the decks in a tin by US Games. So I just want you to know that it's very fat and it's not easy to shuffle. it's going to take some breaking in to get these to shuffle well. So I just wanted to front load that as well. Any questions, things you want to talk about? I'm going to keep an eye on the chat, try not to rush this. And yeah, so let's have fun looking through the cards. Let me say hi to everyone who's here. It's really great to see you. Tammy Ann, welcome. Sharon, Trio of Witches. And Andrew, namaste. Welcome to you. Well-tempered Claire. Erica, yes, Leo season is hitting hot here. Hello to Danielle. Lovely to have you here. Welcome to Elizabeth B. Great, thank you, thank you. And I'm just looking at that. I better get YouTube open just in case I have to. I know I have some mods here, so I'm assuming they will take care of the Friday night shenanigans in Trollville. But you never know, do you? So I'm just going to make sure I have it open in case I need to sweep somebody out. Okay. And the images, by the way, that I used in the thumbnail are from James's website. I did not take those pictures. Who else is here? Nancy's here. Namaste, Nancy. Welcome. Okay. Ooh, and Danielle, you have all 6 decks. Now I saw Andrew, somebody else, I think, said they have the Lenormand. Yeah, I don't have the Lenormand. Okay. Yay. Are you ready? I have a glass of water. I have an ice pack under my feet, so I should be good. For those of you that live in California and places like that, I don't know if you can imagine not having air conditioning. Anyway, so here we go. Yes, I do. I have a peppermint roller that I put behind my ears, and I really like that. Yeah. Okay, so let's begin. I'm going to keep an eye on the guidebook for Cosma Visions. I actually have to turn it over and go back and forth. And I was hoping to have prepped this a little more. So this truly is this is unscripted. Let's just say that. Okay. There's something really beautiful with having the death card in the Cosma Visions as representation for the Fool. And the journey with Cosma Visions can be used as a connection to past life, also doing ancestor work. If you are doing mediumship and tarot, so Cosma Visions, which is the 3rd deck here, that's the green tin, works really well for that. And there is something very powerful about having death as 0. It is, it is ground zero. It is a fresh place to start. And the use of animals in these decks is really beautiful. You'll also notice that the color, so I want you to watch the saturation of color in Prisma Visions. The deck here on the left. So the Fool is not, there's not a lot of color in the Fool. And this is something that I really like. There's a few tarot decks out there that have gray, or perhaps the Fool is sepia. Yeah. So not gray. I was looking for the other word. Oh my goodness. I can't even think of the term. It'll come to me. It's hot. Okay. The Magician. I am so intrigued with this Magician. The body language to me is really, really interesting. Again, notice that there's not a lot of color yet. We are early in the minor arcana. And so pay attention to this. So this body language of the Magician, I find it Fascinating. To me, it looks like an older man. It could be an uncle. It could be a great uncle. It almost makes me think of an Uncle Frank who used to do some magic with us when we were kids. There's just something about it that feels, there's an aspect of the magician that connects to the dark arts. You know, it really connects to Professor Snape, things like that. Yes, a Hogwarts reference. Um, or you could go to Dr. Frankenstein, you know, this kind of malevolent magician energy. But to me, this feels kind. It feels kind, and it feels also like this kind. You ever seen those scenes in a park where there's a bunch of people, you know, playing chess in the park? Not necessarily strangers, because they play chess all the time. There's something. I feel like he could be walking around sprinkling a little bit of fairy dust in places, you know, like just little bits of kindness, random acts of kindness, and touching people just lightly on the shoulder and making their day better. That's the kind of the vibe I feel for this deck. Christina says it looks like, hello Christina, it looks like Alfred Hitchcock. Yeah, I get that. But it does. It feels kind to me, and I like that. The energy of the crow in the first arcana in Cosma Visions. So crows. If you've worked with the Crow Tarot by MJ Coulinane and the accompanying Oracle deck, or if you've worked with the Orange deck, the Raven's Prophecy. I have a few decks that really dive into the energy of the crow. It's also used in a lot of other decks, and the crow is a I want to say almost like a shapeshifter. When the crow shows up, I think it's a sign, it's a signal that things are transitioning, that magic is in the air. And so this works really, really well for this card. We can also see the cosmic swirling of energy here that is around the crow. I did a little bit of a deep dive with the Crow Tarot, and I was looking at the different energy between ravens and crows and things like that. It's fascinating, and there's people out there who observe. Of course, there's bird watchers of all kinds, but I watched a couple of videos on the differences between ravens and crows, trying to dive into this to see if MJ had ravens in her deck and to figure this out. Anyway, this whole species of bird, including magpie, and there's a couple of other ones, right? The corvid family. Super important signs to watch for. And to me, this is a signpost card. Yeah, this, I really, if you have one or all of these decks and haven't taken to them, I really encourage you to put the little book, the little pamphlet away. So the decks come with a small pamphlet, or if you have the big book. The big book is full of information, but there's some really amazing details in the artwork that I think is worth really taking your time with. Okay, so then we go to the High Priestess, and we see the legs. I should really have this. Sorry, I'm just going to open the big book because the cards are a little far away from where I am. Some of you know that I teach tarot, so I spend a lot of time comparing decks and analyzing artwork. And I've really come to a place in my experience with tarot where the basis, the foundation of the Grand Masters of Tarot is really important. And if I don't see it in a deck, it I know that it's not a deck that's going to come to me. There's been some exceptions. Anyway, I love the water, the feet in the water. And also we see the reflection in the water in the High Priestess. And so that reflection card really links very much, it links to the energy of the moon card. It's an important symbol, the reflection. And the way that he has incorporated the pomegranate and even the reflection of the pomegranate, the reflection of the moon, the reflection of the tree, so that it's not just the human quality that is reflected, but all of life is reflected here. And I can see so the black and the white pillars that we normally see in the High Priestess card as the reflection itself. So what is in the shadow, what is in the reflection would be the black pillar, and what is in the illumination of the moon, what is invisible to the 3D eye is the white pillar. And it's really creatively represented. And then we see that reflection as well too in the swan. And the thing about swans and what is below the water and what happens below the water is just a perfect animal to appear here. Yeah. So also the fact that the swan is a feminine energy. When you turn the reflection, now I don't necessarily associate the symbol of the heart with the High Priestess, but I have to say that the feminine archetype of the High Priestess, I think sometimes we forget her femininity. We focus on the secrets. We focus on what is behind the veil. And I think that quality is important to, in a reading. And the reason I'm saying that is because I think the swan really depicts that well. Because the feminine archetype of the High Priestess and the feminine archetype of the Empress are so very different. Yeah. Now, the High Priestess is walking through the water, and the Empress is floating above the earth. And the Empress connected to the element of earth and the energy of earth. I just feel this. You see the leaves in her dress. And we have recurring, like he's included the stars. So we see the stars like we see in the RWS, right? In her crown. This is a really powerful card. You get the wheat. So, depending on which deck you have, the wheat may be more clear in the light visions than it is in the Prisma Visions, but we get its color, right? We see its color there. I also there's something about the fact that the High Priestess, we don't see the whole body, right? We only see a part of the body, and the Empress, we see the whole figure. So what does that tell you, right? That's something really cool. And then the peacock. I could talk for hours about the peacock. This has been an important archetype for me as a yogi. Sorry, I heard Amber squeal outside, like she got hurt. Did a cat attack you or something? Lie down. Down. I have. It's an important part of Hindu and, in an extension, yogic mythology. right now, well, we just finished a deep dive into the Margaret Peterson Tarot, and that whole iridescent quality of the peacock is, I don't know, it's magical and it's mysterious. And so what we have with this particular symbol, this animal as the Empress, takes us, I feel like takes us more into the magic of Shakti, you know, the magic of the divine feminine energy. We also, to me, I'm seeing a portal in this picture, and cards with portals are very, very important. I some of my I won't say some of my favorite decks, but some of the decks that I um, have learned to love, it's through the portal. We have a lot of water in this card, and that might be problematic for some people because the Empress is not associated with the element of water, right? In her femininity as an aspect of the divine feminine, of course, there's some qualities there. Her primary element is earth. Um, so this card, it's really, really important. It feels like if it were to mirror, if it were to show up in a reading with a judgment card, would be very, very potent. You know, I also, if you think about threes as growth in triangulation, and the unknown through that particular portal is a different kind of growth. There's a courageousness that is required to go through that portal. So yeah, love, love, love this card. I believe it's been a while since I read the Big Visions book, but I think the idea with these first 5 archetypes is the, have you read some of those books? Sorry, what's the acronym? NDI, near death experience books. There's a couple that were written by neurologists who had near death experiences. And so they talk about moving through the different, in yoga, we call them lokas. I've also read about this. We hear about it in Autobiography of a Yogi, if you've read that. There's lots of books that talk about the levels that you move through when you die. And these first 5 cards, these guardians, right? The guardians here, the crow, the swan, the peacock, the pelican, and the phoenix are, and if you have particular associations with the stages or with the locus, you might be able to work that in as well too. I have so many interesting stories about this. Listening to what happens when you die, because I've heard a lot of people ask various swamis about this, and I was really intrigued with James's interpretation here. If you're doing a multiple voice reading and you were using this card, you were using Cosma Visions with one of these 2 decks, and the pelican came up in Cosma Visions, then, you know, we had the pelican in the Fool card in the other deck. So while we normally wouldn't associate the Fool with the Emperor, have I turned over all the cards? Where are we here? Yes, well, we normally wouldn't associate the Fool with the Emperor. I like that particular challenge. And I don't know, I'm a symbols person. And so it doesn't really matter to me that these cards aren't supposed to make sense. I'm going to lean into the medicine of Pelican, or I'm going to pull out my Stephen Farmer book and look and see what he says about Pelican, or I'm going to take that symbol seriously, right? Repetitive symbols are super important. In the other two decks, of course, we see the symbol for Aries. And we can see, now the cards are not identical. I'm sure you have noticed that already. But, you know, the energy of 4 instead of the throne, and the squareness of the throne is represented by the 4 Capricorns around the edges. I love that this is so clear, and in the you know, it makes it easy to read, even though the artwork might stray from what you are used to. I don't know. I haven't had any difficulty with reading this. I'm just looking at the guidebook here. Anything else? Yeah. You know, and there's also something with the way that the scepter is piercing, the way that the scepter is piercing here. And so that would also be a powerful message for me if that came up. And so we have a different illustration here. And I don't know the backstory on why that artwork was changed. So the 5th arcana, the Hierophant, is the Phoenix in the Cosma Visions. And again, I feel like this is an arcana that gets bashed a little bit. You know, we were talking in Tarot Foundations. Sorry, and here is a plug. There is a new course that's starting in September. And if you're interested in studying tarot with me, please sign up as soon as possible. integrativehealingwithsadhana.com. You go to the shop and you can learn more about my Tarot Foundations course. We were having a look at the High Priestess and the Hierophant side by side yesterday, and Tuesday night. And I think sometimes we forget that the Hierophant too is grounded in grace. The focus on the Hierophant card, or the one from Pamela Coleman Smith's artwork, or the Pope, right? It's sometimes called the Pop or the Pope. We get stuck in the dogma, in the dogmatic, is that a word? Dogmatic interpretation of this particular card. But what I'm saying here is that the Hierophant, while they come from a different kind of tradition than the High Priestess, their purest intention is the same as the High Priestess, right? They're guiding others towards enlightenment. They're guiding others towards spirit. And so when the Phoenix showed up in the Cosma Visions as the Hierophant, I was really kind of blown away by that. It's such a powerful card. And so the Phoenix, also the portal in the Peacock card. And then I want to be looking for cards such as Judgment in a reading, because that is, yeah, it's beautiful. Beautiful. Okay, so Hierophant. Sorry, I can't see it. If you don't read the tarot with the astrological associations, some of the illustrations might be a little bit challenging. And the Taurus energy in the 2 decks over here, I think it takes a little bit more of a stretch to get to what I was saying before, because for me, this particular illustration doesn't have the same power as this one. I really like the decks that have a really great shaman in the Hierophant card. You know, you can feel the energy of a guide helping others to transform. And James talks to the when I think about Taurus, right? You think about its dense energy and its fixedness, right? So I'm just saying I have a hard time going where I want to go with this particular Hierophant card. Okay, the Lovers. I should really speed up. I could probably keep you here for 4 or 5 hours if you were interested. And also probably what we could do is tonight do part of it, and then I can do a part 2, or I can speed up the commentary. So you let me know. And you know, this is not intended as a quick walkthrough. So let me know what you think. Okay. So like Nancy, right? If you identify with your sun sign as Taurus, then you know that card might fit really well with you. But if you're not working with the astrological associations, then this might be a little bit trickier. Okay. The Lovers. So the Lovers, this takes us, and I will come back. The masks that they are wearing, I don't really like it. While we see different sorts of couples, you know, different types of relationships, that's really beautiful. It's just the type of mask. I mean, you could think it's a crow mask or a plague mask or whatever it is, but I'm not crazy about the mask that's on this card. What I do like is the flow of energy. And I have to say that in a Lover's card where you can't see where one begins and one ends, that works really well for me, because this is truly a card about being both and working towards your oneness. Thanks, Elizabeth. Thank you for your feedback, Christina. Okay, so I'll take my time. And then the Soulmates card. Wow. Sorry, I just need to pick it up. And what I do a lot of readings, and I do a lot of readings for people who are healers or who do readings or some kind of this kind of work. And there is a trend for I want to say for the twin flame interpretation, the whole soulmate thing. Now, I believe that yes, we are deeply connected to other souls. I believe that each time we incarnate, that there are souls that come back into our life and are an important part of our experience. And sometimes those souls may present as a mother or as a, I don't know, a sister or a lover. But I really feel like there's a period of time that each soul, you know, if our business is complete, then that soul is not going to be with us any longer. And when we long for a soulmate, or when we put the weight of somebody in a soulmate. So with this particular card, this feels like a cosmic relationship. And I don't know why I'm going off on this tangent, actually. Because I suppose it may not, I mean, hopefully this card won't show up if somebody is not feeling this experience. Because this energy and this energy is very different. And I don't think a soulmate is an aspect of yourself. I think a soulmate is another soul who reflects your beauty so much that you you feel complete. Anyway, also taking my time with these cards gives me an opportunity to think about different ways that I might be using these cards. Yeah. Soul group. That is a great, I love that. Great interpretation. Okay. Why would a relative come back into your life that you feel no connection to? What's the point? Mhm. Well, I would need a little bit more detail, Christina. Um, it could be that they are learning more from you than you from them, but it could also be a compassion thing. It's really hard to love all beings with the level of compassion that is closest to enlightenment. You know, when we have indifference towards certain people or we have repulsive feelings towards other people, this is a huge project that we need to work on. So that level of indifference could be something to do with your heart chakra and learning more about compassion. Yeah. Okay. Let's not go down that rabbit hole today. So let's go to the Chariot and the Spirit plane. Okay. Wow, these are such potent, potent cards. The art in the Soulmates card is just beautiful, just beautiful. Okay, so the Spirit plane card is really cool. I mean, this is, I'm sure some of you have been here, and to get lost in the spirit plane is a really beautiful experience as long as you have the skills to come back. Um, yeah. Okay, so let's look at the Chariot in the two decks on the left. We have the dove, the symbol of the dove, and then we have a three-dimensional, we have the car. We have the headlights instead of the sphinxes or the horses. I'm not crazy about this card. This is a little too mundane for me. The rain, so the rain is important part of this card because this is connected to Cancer, emotions, and we don't necessarily see who or what is driving the car. So there's a lot of intuiting that is required here. I would like a few more symbols in this particular card. Yeah. Oh, you're welcome, Christina. I don't know. I feel I'm so moved by, for example, Marie White's interpretation of the Chariot. And that theme carries over in a lot of decks where we have, you know, the white horse and the black horse, and the whole idea of the reins and not needing the reins to guide these aspects of ourself forward. The Chariot, of course, is at the end of the first septenary. It's a really big card, right? It's a really big card of going forth, and there's a sense of completion here that is, I don't know, I'm a little disappointed in this particular symbol, but the Spirit plane card is so awesome. Wow, it just shows the infinite potential, right? Where we are going forward. And yeah, Andrew, sure, emotions driving us forward. Perhaps the creator feels empowered behind the wheel of a car, or there is a particular love of automobiles, that I don't share. This could also be a very personal thing. I'm not a car person. Yeah, it is. It's a bit modern. It kind of reminds me of the slow tarot in some way. Anyway, let's go on to the 8th Arcanum, Strength. What do I need to do? Do I need to say anything here? Lots of lions. There's lots of roaring. And we do see the lions in green, in grass. And there's also something going on. Whoa, that's so different in the card than in the book. I guess that's perhaps the art obviously has been changed from the old iteration of the deck to, okay, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to pull out this one and see. Just give me a sec. I want to check something. Oh, I don't know how quickly I can find it. Do you mind? Just give me 1 second here. Because this what I'm looking at here and what I'm looking at in the book is different. And I quite like what I'm looking at in the new cards. So I guess what needs to happen is a side-by-side of the changes. Yeah, okay, so I don't have this old version of the Strength card. So in the new version of the Strength card, we do see the shadow of a human here, right? So the shadow, again, this could take us back to the energy of the High Priestess. Sorry, I'm laughing. From the highway to the jungle. Yeah. This is my birth card. And there's also something here that doesn't sit well with me. And that is so how do you interpret this? There's a human walking over the lion. And if in Tarot de Marseille, for example, other older decks as well too, the human is forcefully prying open the jaws of the lion. And so there's a sense of power over. That doesn't sit well with me. I think so fire, right? The element of fire, the Jotir, the flame, the eternal flame that lives inside the heart space. I feel really connected to this, as well as the solar plexus chakra. And that inner light and building that strength is a really subtle energy. So this, I don't know. Yeah, the lion definitely isn't tamed. That's for sure. Orbs. When I see orbs, I think of amber, lavender moon amber. And for me, okay, so orbs. This one of if I want to kind of bring in the strength archetype to this particular card, I want to go to, so I'm going on a bit of a stretch here, but in the solar plexus chakra, we move from ego to trust. And in working with orbs and in receiving messages from orbs, there is a huge sense of trust and a letting go that is necessary. So this is something that feels, I'm fascinated, absolutely fascinated. James says, we learn many things from the orbs that we cannot learn on earth. These are wise souls who have lived lives upon lives and no longer reincarnate into human form. So, like I think of times when I was lying on my back in Shavasana and opened my eyes and would see orbs floating around the yoga studio and trying to have conversations with these beings. And, different times where I've been lost in the forest or things like that. I want to add that keyword is really, really important here. I also want to encourage you, if you have the Big Visions book, to lean into it, because it really is well written. And then for the Hermit, we have the Cosmic Tree. The Cosmic Tree. So if you want to look at that as the tree of life, or the world tree, this is such a great symbol of the journey and the journey through life. And so that card fits really, really well here. The Hermit card, while it is not connected to Jupiter, I have a personal association of the Hermit with Jupiter. And I just, why am I saying this? I feel, and Jupiter is connected to the guru. And there's something here that's just a little bit too romantic for me. Yeah. I mean, it's gorgeous. It fits so well. I'm thinking of this card with the suit of water in Cosma Visions, right? Because we have like this. These are the Cosma Visions cards, and so what I would do if I were reading these two decks side by side and this card showed up, I might read it in a different way. The Hermit is about a journey, right? It's about a journey to, oh, where am I going? Getting decks mixed up. It's about a journey. It's about pilgrimage. And I'm just not sensing that in this card. Andrew loves this card. It is a very romantic hermit, I agree, but I love the wholeness in being alone, but not lonely interpretation. Yes, I get that. And that's also a great big teaching in working with queerance, right? Is that empowerment of being alone versus being lonely. Yeah. So thank you for that reminder, Andrew. Okay. Can somebody keep an eye, please, on the new visitor in the chat? Okay. Okay. So Wheel of Fortune. And Life Map. I kind of, this is a really important card for me. Really important. Thanks, Andrew. I feel that, so I first of all, I love Pamela Coleman-Smith's artwork in this card. I love a good wheel card that has an abundance of symbolism. And this is not one that I really like. There's I feel like it strays just a little bit too far from how and I know it's like, dog eat dog, circle of life, the food chain, all that kind of stuff, that fits here for sure. There is this circle, right? This circle of life kind of energy. So, yeah. Okay. And then we look at Life Map. And for me, Life Map is that it's connected to the Akashic Records. And it's that place, where we're kind of sitting there up in the clouds trying to figure out what it is we're going to focus on this kick of the can. And I think that no matter how you view this card, we have the potential to return here to make sense of what our dharma is, what our reason for being here this time is. And this is a very attractive card for me. It just opens so many beautiful conversations. So yeah. And as the 10th card, you know, the map of our life plan. Um, and being open to the flow of that, right? Because a lot of the time, in a lot of these conversations, we talk about will versus fate. And I think if we could understand this, that we can go back for clarification, or we always have access to this, that we wouldn't be so uncomfortable in, are we, you know, with questions like, are we on path? Are we on track? Right. This is such a great, I love this little deck. Yeah. It's, well, I like the big version better because you can see the cards, but I'm really happy that I have these travel versions, especially for the summer. Okay, Justice. I feel like I've talked about this so much. I don't really need to talk about it. Yeah. Karma, justice. So even if we're talking about legal justice, or we're talking about our stand for a particular social issue or community issue, our egos get so much in the way. We don't understand that there are a million souls, you know, like whoever's involved in this whole, like all these people's souls and karmas are all a part of a particular issue. When there is a decision made in court, it's not just about the person who's being tried. There's always so much going on in the background. And to understand the ripple of karma it's a huge thing that needs tremendous, tremendous contemplation. And my very best example is, I remember one day just here in this house yelling at one of my kids, like really loud, really angry. And I had this vision of one of my neighbors across the street. She was preparing food in the kitchen. And I had a visualization of her dropping the knife on her husband's foot and piercing her husband's foot. And that slapped me in the face. This is also an aspect of karma, right? So every action has a response, has a ripple. And any deck that does justice as karma for me is, yes, I really like it, right? Because karma is an important part of who I am and what I believe in so far. Okay, so you're probably aware that sacrifice is a key word, and a key word for the traditional hanged man. And sorry, I'm trying to remain modest here. Sacrifice is it's a traditional keyword for the hanged man. And if you think about it, what that might mean. And I'm sure you've all been at a place in your life where you've had to make a decision that you've had to think long and hard about, because your decision affects so many other people. And so if we can understand that also in relation to the previous card, I think we kind of get a better understanding of the flow of the journey of these cards and the pause that is required. And I really, so we have right Neptunian energy with the Hangman, the water. The water is really important. I really don't like that we don't have water in the Pamela Coleman Smith artwork. So what Neptune is the higher frequency of what personal planet? Is it? I'm not sure. You know, when I think of Neptune, I think of Seven of Cups, even though these cards aren't connected astrologically through the Golden Dawn. But the fact that this person, this soul, this being is floating on water, and then we have these piranhas underneath the water. This is kind of brilliant. Venus? Okay. Thanks, Andrew. Yeah. Beautiful. Beautiful. Okay. Sacrifice. Somebody commented on that and said something about lovers. So the hands. I'm just going to look at the big card here. This is it's a beautiful card. And I think these two cards connect together so perfectly. And the story in Cosma Visions is absolutely brilliant. And so what I was saying about decisions and choices, you know, think about some really hard hanged man moments when you may have to decide to leave your partner and perhaps even leave your children or your mother who's lived in this hometown forever. You know, this is the kind of depth that this can go to. So yeah, it's really potent. And I can hear, you know, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. This is like what's the sound that's coming off this card. Yeah. Okay. Death and past lives kind of takes me back to the Osho Zen. I worked with the Osho Zen deck for years and years. There's a past lives card in that deck as well too. It's not the 13th Arcanum. And of course, in Cosma Visions, we also have a death card, right? So the 0 card is death. I think there's real potential for some great readings. You like that, Andrew? Yeah. Okay, so I think we've talked about this topic a lot already tonight, so I don't want to belabor it. And there is a lot of people have discomfort with death. And when the death card comes up in a reading, there can be, you know, that tendency to go, especially if the querent has asked about the death of a loved one or the health of a loved one. It's a very challenging reading. But I think it warrants a conversation about the spiral of time. And this is a beautiful death card. It just has so much, I don't know, I feel the beautiful connection with the hand and the rose. And I much prefer this to death on horseback. So this one works really well. And also, you know, I love the circulating energy because death is a process. And we see that process in the Cosma Visions Tarot, right? Okay, Temperance. So tonight I will just be doing the majors, okay? Okay. I really love this. This is so good. The maze. So for those of you that have done spiritual work and done labyrinth work, you'll know the power of labyrinth work. I kind of wish this card was called Labyrinth. I know the labyrinth wouldn't fit on the card, but that to me would be that would be really sweet. Like if I were to change a keyword, that one would be changed. We see this really gorgeous cosmic blending of energy, and for me, the keyword, uh, the primary keyword for temperance is healer, and part of that process of healer is learning to find temperance in all aspects of one's life. And that's really hard because we have favorites, we have tendencies, and so forth. So, when I look at this card, I see healing hands, I see um, healing energy, I see light weaving, I see purification, I see so many things. And yes, oddly, it's dominantly water in this card. I don't see fire really, other than the fact that if fire represents the movement, right? The movement of energy, because temperance is associated with Sagittarius. The other thing with the way this card is drawn, the temperance card is drawn, is that um, the mutable energy, right? The mutable Sagittarius energy feels represented here as well too. So it's kind of beautiful. Hi, Joseph, welcome. And Grun, welcome to you. Yeah. Okay. So what I was saying with the maze as temperance, and that is if you want to, because I think for some people they struggle with the 14th Arcanum association with the number with the keyword or the illustration that's on the deck. And all I can say is that labyrinth work is super healing. It's an important part of kind of going into the unknown. It's a great journey card. I'll read you a couple of sentences from James's the words of the creator of the deck. An endless labyrinth of corridors and spirals that lead you to many, many outcomes. There is an exit at the center of every circle, and you could just take any one you walk by, but only some exits lead to a life meant for you. There are great lives you are meant to live buried deep in the maze, but you'll eventually have to walk towards one that calls your name, or you could spend a lifetime walking in vain. Yeah, so yeah, there really isn't. I mean, it's a bit of a stretch to bring a temperance association to this card. So I think the best use of the maze card is to talk about labyrinth work and the power of labyrinth work. Or alternatively, if you are familiar with the past life regression meditation, where you go down the corridor and you choose to open a door and go through a door, there also might be a conversation waiting there for you in that card. Okay. All right. The devil and the vessel. There's so much that we could do with these cards. I feel like there's a lot of potential in this particular devil card. I feel a pull to, sometimes when I see a devil card, it's like I can feel the chains on the person on the other side of the table. The last time they let go was 1972, if you know what I mean. And because of what experiences in life they have had, they've put so many restrictions on themselves. So when I see this forest here, it invites adventure. It invites doing what would go where you want to go, um, experience what you want to experience. That, mind you, the colored deck, so the Prisma Visions, is a little haunting. And I can see that feeling like, you know, what's around the next corner, being a little nervous about that card. Yeah. Okay, so sorry, I want to check on what James is up to here with this one. Oh yes, we also have the snake in the grass. Sorry, I can't see it because it's getting dark in here. Gleaming eyes beckon you onwards against your better judgment. You follow through the dense thicket, so enamored with the snake, you fail to notice that the path leads you down a dead end. You are being taken in, and soon you'll be irrecoverably to the bleak and silent forest. You know, I don't like that interpretation, because I feel there's so many layers of the devil that are hugely, hugely healing, mostly connected to sacral chakra work. And so when I read this, I'm going to read it intuitively, with my own interpretation. This is a card of light. So the vessel, this is a card of light. I don't know, would you read this kind of as a Pandora's box kind of card as well too? Erica, so last year, a couple of years ago, I did a video on the devil card, and you might want to have a look at that. So there was a dedicated video to this arcana, and that might help. So it was the year that the devil was my archetype for the year. Yeah. Okay. All right. Settle. Please settle. Everybody, this is Amber, in case you don't know my Amber. Pandora's box, the vessel. The glow of a particular vessel draws you in like a familiar embrace from a partner. You feel a radiating energy and an edge, and as you edge closer towards it, it whistles a seductive song, and you become fixated. All you can focus on is the vessel, and it urges you to open it, ignoring the inscriptions on the body. You remove the lid, and everything around you goes dark. So it's like a Pandora's box kind of energy. However, if this were to show up in a reading, Amber wants to read the cards, that's funny. If it were to show up in a reading with cards with lots of light, I may take it in a different direction. Yeah. Okay. Let's conclude with the Tower tonight, just because the light is changing here, and I need to open the blinds, and I don't want to get up and do all that. So we'll carry on next Friday, probably at 12 p.m. Pacific, with these 3 decks. Okay. So the Tower and the Shore. I have to tell you, the Tower is one of my favorite cards in the tarot. And I love it when this shows up, when I can tell that the querent is in this deep, deep place of transformation. I find it so inspiring. And the Shore is also kind of a looming and deeply, this takes me to like tsunami experience, right? I've never been in the experience of a tsunami, but I have been in a hurricane on the beach. I have felt this kind of energy. And the thing so when you think about Pamela Coleman Smith's artwork and all those yuds that are falling down and the lightning bolt and that whole experience, we have been so complacent, so very, very complacent, that spirit needs to intercept. Because if we don't get off our complacent ass, we are, I don't know, we're doing ourselves harm. So this is a really important card. This is a really important wake-up call. And you have to be pretty pretty unaware to have not received any of the precursor messages that come with this card. You know, much like the tsunami, we can with a tsunami, we can ignore these messages for a long time, but it's going to hit. It's going to hit, and if we don't prepare, if we don't take steps, it's we're going to get hurt. This Tower card is so beautiful. It's so beautiful. There's a house that sits on a cliff. Undoubtedly built on solid ground, the relentless wind and the sea have slowly eroded the bluff beneath it. What is the tarot deck that has the tree house? So there is, so the Tower is about a tree house falling out of a tree. That's what this reminds me of. You know, we ignore, we're not repairing the infrastructure. And repairing the infrastructure of our lives is a constant process. We need to be working on our physical bodies. We need to be working on all of the stuff that we say we don't have time to do, right? We don't have time for spiritual practices. We don't have time to go get a massage. We don't have time to go for a walk every day. So if we're not repairing the infrastructure of the many aspects of ourselves, you know, then this is one of the consequences. At least that's one of my interpretations. So big exhale breath. Okay. Hi everybody. Happy Friday night. Thank you so much for being here. Okay. I'm really enjoying this. So yeah, so I'm going to carry on. This might take me a few weeks to go through this chat, and this also gives me time to do a little bit more research into some of the cards, and yeah, give me also more confidence in doing two voice readings, because I want to do two voice readings with Cosma and Light Visions. Yeah. Also, I will go back and have a look at the changes in artwork from the original Prisma and Cosma Visions, and with the new ones, because I wasn't aware that the changes were so very, very different. Yeah. Nobody knows the card I was talking about, hey? About the treehouse falling in the Tower card. Maybe it will come to me. Yeah. All right. Well, good night, everybody, and sleep well. And if you haven't set intentions for the new moon in Leo, take some time to do that. And I want to encourage you to be really gentle with those intentions and to pace yourself. There's some really dynamic energies in the universe that are around us now. So be kind to one another, and especially be kind and gentle with yourself. Namaste, everybody. I'll see you soon. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Sharon. Tarot of the Abyss. Great.